We need to rethink who's more emotionally mature. Subscribe. Let's talk about it.
I don't know what man needs to hear this, but for the men that thinks it's better for you to leave your girl alone in a situation when you are into it, that's not better. It's not benefiting you in any way. If anything, that's only letting her think about everything you've ever done wrong to her, how she really don't like you for real, and she's probably thinking about breaking up with you. Go get that girl.
I think a lot of this nonsense comes from how much media you consumed about relationships, how those are supposed to go when we're younger. Hell, to this day, when you see the woman getting upset, breaking up with him, telling her she doesn't love him, walking away from it, and he goes chasing after her, you think this is reality. You think that this is just a sort of pull away technique, and he's going to demonstrate just how much he cares about you. This is just for you to validate and to feel better about your feelings. You think it's reassurance, but in reality, what has happened is that now this becomes the status quo. You get upset, you throw your emotions, you push, you pull, he has to respond to that. You think this is normal. You think this is the way humans actually communicate, and it's not. It's actually how you manipulate someone. Before you continue, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss no uploads. Still trying to do 2 a day, still trying to go strong. So hype the video, share the video. We got merch in the store. So listen, this is very simple. This is very common. And I think we've all been part of this on one side or the other. I remember when years ago, me and an ex, we broke up and she left, right? She was in my little, downstairs, a little studio apartment we made in the house. And she left. Oh, okay. I'm treating her as an adult. I'm thinking that you're going to, you mean what you say and you move accordingly. So when she walked out, I think it was maybe 10 minutes later, she came back and she's like, I can't believe you let me leave. And I was genuinely confused. I understand what the play was now. I get the technique. I get what you were going for. You want to have that me chasing after the car moment. You want to have me displaying all these emotions for you to make you feel better. But in reality, it's just manipulation. It's just, I want you to do this thing, so I'm going to train you by doing this. When you are upset and you guys are arguing and it's enough for him to say, I got to take a break. I got to detach from this. No, this is not a technique for him. This is not something where he's saying you need to be left alone, or you're upset that now he's giving you time to leave alone, and now you're reconsidering all the things. You're reconsidering, I don't even like him. If the argument is that, if you cannot take time apart when things are getting heated, you don't have emotion regulation. It shouldn't take an argument for you to realize, or it shouldn't take constantly feeling satiated for you not to address some of these problems. If you don't really want to be with the person, it shouldn't come out after an argument. You should know that already. That's being properly, regulated. That's being in control of your emotions. That's being aware of yourself. But we make it seem as if a man doesn't constantly input into you to keep you stimulated, to keep you satiated, to keep you on an emotional sort of high, then you have no business being with him. This doesn't make sense. When we constantly talk about women being more emotionally mature, when lacking some sort of emotional accountability, emotional intelligence, all this, throw emotion in front of it, throw whatever language in front of it, and attach it to a man and say it's a lack, and then you get all the girlies agreeing. But realistically, how many men have been subject to she's upset silent treatment? How is that emotional maturity? How is that being emotionally regulated? You're upset, so now I'm not going to talk to him. Think about, and whatever comes to mind first is whatever it is. What part of our stage of development do we do that? Toddlers do that. Children do that. I'm not talking to you. As if now there's some sort of real lack and my life is going to now be impacted because of this. We know in relationships, especially if you ever live with a woman, now the whole house becomes problematic. Now you're walking on eggshells. Now we all are held hostage by your lack of emotional regulation. And it's not just us, also the kids learn this. They pick up on that. Mom is upset. We have to make sure we do this so mommy's not upset. All of us are now subject to how you are feeling, but you're the one that has more emotional intelligence. Because you express more emotions, because you live with more emotion, doesn't mean we lack in that sort of capacity. There are reasons why men don't have some of the abilities you do. Yeah, we don't need that much of expression in our emotions. It doesn't read the same way it reads for you, so you think somehow we're lacking. Somehow you are trying to essentially feminize men to have them behave like you, which requires constant upkeep, which requires constant energy. And men, we know what that looks like. You know, when you're swiping and you see men with this sort of behavior, this affect, this part of you that cringes. This part of you that looks and says, why aren't you being you? Why are you putting on this theater, this show that for this person, rather than you just be you? And it turns out she's typically more attracted to you being you than you pretending to be one of her girlfriends. Who would have thought? We were all sort of conditioned a certain way to believe that if it does not happen like this, then it is wrong, that you have to follow behind this. To this point, to the video, if I give you space because both of us are becoming emotionally charged, that's because I know what usually happens when you're emotionally charged. You start making absolutes. You start acting like a Sith Lord. You start talking in absolutes. You start saying things that you actually don't mean. The problem is women tend to lean into that very quickly, very, very earnestly. So you start revealing things about me to the public, screaming, yelling, because now it's not about us resolving what we're talking about, resolving an issue. Now it's about winning the argument. And once we're in that sort of phase, how can I bring us back down? As if, especially if I've already been talking in a calm tone and it doesn't matter, you don't like the answers, you already have an idea what the answer should be, I can't walk you back off that ledge. The only thing I can do right now is disengage and stop and remove your punching bag from in front of you. That's the best strategy I can have for you. I can remove and withdraw myself from your presence. So without a stimulus, without something else to key on, maybe you come back down and become regular, or think about that. But if in that time, because you're sad, because you're upset and you don't know how to properly deal with that, you want to say, well, I don't think I want to be with you anyway. That's your decision to make. And for men, it's not our place to now chase behind you and prevent you from making that decision. If that's a conclusion you want to reach because I withdrew so we can calm down, then yeah, let's reach that now, because we're not going to stop arguing. If we're together in the long run, there's going to be something else. There's going to be another thing. And if I'm trained now because you manipulated it in the beginning, because you've done this in prior relationships and you think this is normal, then I constantly have to chase after you. I constantly have to make sure I have enough emotional control for myself, I'm stoic enough for myself, and to maintain you, and to make sure you're even, and to make sure you don't fly off the road. No, I'm not responsible for that. This is what has been the downfall of many, 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 many men. We're chasing after you to make you happy, but what makes you happy can change. And it could have nothing to do with you, with me. It could be a hormonal thing, could be emotional thing, it could be emotional. It could be something that you buried in the past. It could be something that someone else did. I can't be the receptacle for all of that to keep you even. You're not a princess. Despite what you may want to think, despite what you may have to believe, even princesses had the responsibility of maintaining their own emotional sort of control. You can't just voice that onto men, expect them to do it. It's wrong, it's manipulative, and I just hope more men wake up and see this ain't it. If you disagree, let me know down in the comments. If you see other videos on your screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And of course, if you listen to my voice now, you have not subscribed, I think you should. I'm trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.